I've gotten a lot of comments on my written videos telling me, Star, you're so emotionally intelligent, you understand things about how you feel. I've always found this kind of a peculiar assertion to make about me because, yeah, some of my written videos go very in depth with the emotions and they're well worded in the sense that they're able to convey that very specific feeling that I've thought about. But it's usually because I've been thinking about that feeling for months and months, and then by the time I write that stream of consciousness paper, all of the emotions just come out. And in that moment of emoting and emoting, after months of brooding and brooding, uh, eventually the words just come out the way that they're meant to be. I never edit my scripts. I don't think. I don't think very in depth about a lot of this stuff as it happens. It just sort of happens. And yeah, I thought a lot about it before, but it was always sort of like, how do I find the words for this? I wish I understood this, not I'm gonna think about all of the ways in which I know about this thing. It was sort of a uphill battle to be able to have any ideas about it at all. And I've always contradicted myself a lot, um, especially in the realm of how I view myself and my own emotions. Mostly because throughout my life it's always been a constant upsurge of either extremely apathetic emotions or extremely emotional emotions. Sometimes there's an in-between, but my baseline existence is actually very apathetic. I feel very little from day to day. And that may seem surprising to some of you because I talk about these really big, extreme emotions that I feel in my videos. And those are certainly real, they're certainly there, but they're not me all the time. If you only watched my videos, you might get a characterization of me as someone who feels like that every day. That's certainly not true. Most of the days I feel the exact opposite of that, if anything at all. And so, this idea that Star is some kind of like emotionally intelligent guy, I don't even know what emotions are. I don't even know what a lot of this stuff is. I don't know how it works. I'm just sort of piecing together what ideas I can with, the limited knowledge I have sitting inside of my room. I'm not a guy who can sit here and tell you I have all the answers. I can just sort of act like I do. Maybe sound like I do. Doesn't mean I do, it just means I sound like it. And I was listening to this Hayake album. It's really good. It's called Ukurimono. It's a very good record. It's math rock. If you like math rock, I'd recommend listening to that record. I've been listening to a lot more music lately. It sort of helps decompress this kind of feeling that I'm having here, because I've been really depressed in the last week. It's part of one of the reasons why I've been live streaming so much, is because I haven't felt very good. The thing is, though, look at this. This dog's trying to get in the shot. Thing is, though, is that sort of goes back to the overall statement that I was making, is that when I'm feeling a certain way, I can have an idea about it, can kind of describe it if I try hard enough, but no, this whole like self-aware Star idea that, Star just has everything figured out and can figure out all of their emotions, is not really true. I don't know where people got that idea, but I've had some people tell me something to that effect. And my thing is that I've always known that there's a problem. I've always said this, is that I've always known that there's a problem, but I've never known what the problem particularly is. It takes a lot of time for me to be able to figure that out. And sometimes the problem isn't really there at all, it's just a product of overthinking. Thinking too much about one thing, that's another thing. So I get so caught up in this emotional riffraff of thinking and suppressing certain feelings that I begin to lose sight of what the feelings even are in the first place. I don't really understand them or know what they are. which is really weird, because I go through these cycles of absolute apathy, not caring about anyone, anything, etc., and then just feeling these like bursts of extreme love, emotion, and all these other things, these weird desires I don't really like having. I used to want to meld myself into a computer because I thought it would be better to be a computer without emotion than to be someone who had to deal with stuff like this. Um, Never been a huge transhumanist. I'm okay with it, but never been big into the idea because I've always wanted to die someday. You know, I always thought the idea of dying someday is pretty cool. So I never thought of like becoming a computer fully, anything like that. But I have thought about the idea of like, what if I transferred my consciousness and then shut it off? If I transferred my consciousness, I would just have to turn off all of the functions that would typically be emotional, desire for sex, you know, all these types of things. I mean, I wanted to do that with drugs anyway, you know, just completely shut off my libido forever. Um, but I was thinking, you know, I wish I could be in the wired. I wish I could be a computerized human being instead of someone who has to deal with feelings, desires, and stuff. Guilt, you know, these types of things. Um, that's another thing, is that, you know, I've always felt guilt pretty strongly, except in like, it's in a weird way, you know, is that like I always have felt guilt pretty strong, but it's always been in this sort of like apathetic way at the same time, where it's almost like I disassociate from the emotions that are going on a lot of the time. I think I do a lot of disassociation where it feels like I'm sort of watching myself from the sidelines rather than actually feeling what I'm feeling. It feels like someone else is feeling it, and then I'm watching them feel it. Does that make sense? I don't think that makes sense. This is what I'm talking about, is that, you know, if it's one vlog, I'll be able to sit down and talk about like one specific thing that I've been thinking about. If I need to talk about the entire emotional breath, you know, the entire star mindset, it'd be pretty hard. Now, I've had ideas that I settled on a long time ago. You know, I said when I was really young, I said, if I can't live a life doing whatever I want, then, you know, there's no point. Something like that. I think I said, yeah, there's no point if I can't live a life doing whatever I want. I've always felt the same way. I've never changed my mind about that. What I've wanted to do has changed. Now, back then, I wanted to be a draw boy. I wanted to draw cartoons and stuff. Little kid. Don't want to do that anymore, but I feel pretty much the same way. Never really liked the idea of getting a job, unless I could get a job that I wanted. You know, I have these little consistencies. It's little consistencies that have always been there, that have continued to make sense to me, that I just haven't changed my mind on since I was a little kid. Key point being the hating this country I live in. So I don't know. It's weird.